Okay, we'll start today's practice. Arms down by the side. Turn your palms to face outwards. And see if you can tuck in your chin a little and feel the back of your neck long. You might like to just notice the sit bones. When you're ready, with our next breath, we're going to lift, welcoming in, inviting in. And at the top of the breath, sense of sinking and releasing. So let's just see if we can find the pattern of our breath through this movement. We're inhaling to lift. Exhaling. Allow some space between the breaths. When the next breath comes, we lift up. And we let go. Let's do 2 more times. Try and let your shoulders stay heavy, even when you're lifting up. And last one. So welcome to day 2 of our 2024 Qigong Intensive. Today is the earth element. Earth element is stomach and spleen meridians. You might think your stomach is down here in your belly, but your stomach is actually kind of pretty high up on the left-hand side. So you might like to just find it with your fingers, just under the rib cage, and just bring your attention underneath the fingers. And just underneath the stomach is another organ called the spleen. And in Chinese medicine sense, stomach is, of course, the reservoir of where the food sits in our body once we have digested each meal. And the spleen is the organ that kind of turns that food into the energy that we need to enjoy our life, to do all the things that we have to do each day. So our stomach is the yang meridian and spleen is the yin meridian. Earth element, you might think of it as kind of true purpose in your life. So when you bring stomach and spleen into balance, you have intention, you have creativity, you find it easy to move forward. And when earth element is out of balance, you tend to seem a little worried, or you might have too many thoughts, unable to find a way forward. All right, bring the hands back down. We're going to start with some acupressure points. And these are all on lower body, stomach and spleen. So yesterday when we did our fire element, it was mainly upper body. We did points on our palms, our wrists, our heart center. And today, all lower body. So we're going to start. If you're in a seat, you can still find these same points. You can work out how to do it. So we'll start with stomach 42. So this is a point that's in the little indent in between where your foot meets your leg. If you flex your foot towards you, you'll feel a few tendons, and right in the middle of those tendons is stomach 42. So see if you can just find it on one foot to start. And you might press using the flat part of your thumb in here. You might like to take some small circles. And another really nice way to find this meridian point, if you're someone who likes to kneel, is to sit in the Japanese seiza style, which you'll often see me doing. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. And then the point is connected to the ground. So very grounding, helps with feeling calm, feeling stable, and bringing earth element into balance is very much about those emotions of trust and openness. When stomach and spleen are out of balance, you might feel bloated, you might feel like you have lack of energy. All right. So if you are sitting in the cross-legged position, just switch and find the other foot. And just see if you can bring your attention underneath the point. So a very common acupuncture point if you went and had needles with a Chinese doctor. But of course, all these points are available to us any time of the day, and all we need to do is bring our attention to them. We're helping the qi in our body move and nourish and hydrate every cell and help us maybe remove something that's blocked, something that's not working so well. All right, next point we'll do is also a leg point. Our stomach meridian runs up the outside line of our leg, so outside your tibia bone, your shin bone. If you trace up the outside of your leg until you get to the point, you're on the outside of the shin bone, where that bone is about to connect with your patella, your knee. So this is a point. I like to actually access, you can access it with your fingers or your thumbs, but I actually really like to access it with my heel. So if you like to join me, just take your heel down. It's the very top point right before the two legs in your bone meet. So you've got your shin bone, your tibia at the front, and your other leg bone is called your fibula. So just locate them in the body, notice where they are. Every practice is always about learning about my body. We could try and learn about the whole world, but the whole world is very complex, very confusing, very complicated. And if we spend our time learning about our own body, instead of trying to understand the world, maybe we can have a bit more positive influence on those around us. The world is very, very complex, but so is just our body. And however many years you've been alive, I imagine pretty much same as me, body is a complete mystery. Why so many things come and go, why aches and pains and illnesses arrive when they do. All right, if you've just been on one side, you might swap to the other side. If you're using your heel, you can rotate the ankle and just let the foot be heavy. So this point, stomach 36, is called the extra mile point. And the idea is it's just a bit of extra energy. So spleen, of course, relates to the blood sugars in the body. And when you're depleted, when you've run out of a bit of energy, you might just find this point just to give you a little bit extra. If you're feeling particularly flat, or maybe if you're just feeling worried or confused, very good point to find. So yeah, use the heels, or you can just use fingers. Either way is fine. All right, so we've done some stomach lines, the yang meridian for earth element. Now we'll do our spleen, and we're going to find, I'm going to come off my block. We're going to find spleen number 3. So if you find the ball of your foot and you want to get a bit more angle here. Yeah. The ball of your foot on the inside, we want the flat of our thumb just to be pressing kind of like a massage. It won't feel too pleasant, but this is a point for when you feel really bloated, when you have maybe just had too big a meal and you need to free up things, create some space. So our spleen meridian traces up the inside line of the leg. So we're going to go from this point, spleen number 3, to another spleen point, which is called spleen 6. So go above your ankle, and we want to be just behind the bone. And just small circles here. Again, won't feel too pleasant, not really like a normal massage. It's more just finding a point where body's energy might not be flowing and encouraging the energy to flow back. Everything is connected in our body. We like to feel like we have an issue only in our hand or in our foot or in our organ or something, but Body pumps 7,000 liters of blood every day. Everything is connected. All right, if you've just been on one side, you might like to join me, just swapping to the other side. So wherever we take our attention to, we give great power. The Greek philosopher Epictetus said, we become whatever we give our attention to. So just notice if the points that you find are a little tight or tender, it's just a sign of an energy blockage, just a message our body gives us to maybe invite us to give our body a little more attention, a bit less attention to the mind or the distractions of our phone or something. All right. So you might like to join me, just bringing the feet together and maybe a little rock over the sit bones. See if you can let go of that need to be so upright. You might like to roll to one side and then the other. If you're in a seat, you can still do the same movement with your upper body, letting go of anything we hold tight or tense. All right, when you're ready, please join me coming up to stand. So we're going to do some warm-ups today for our earth element practice, and these are based on a series of really simple Japanese exercises that I love called Radio Tazo. Many school children do this every day at the start of their day of learning. Japanese people, very wise. So the first one is just really simple. Arms come up, and then we turn the palms and they come back down. And you might start to notice the pattern of your breath with the movement. But what we're looking for here is just even breath. Letting each breath come, allowing each breath to go. Notice the feeling underneath your feet. How steady and stable do you feel? Notice if you have more weight in toes or heels. All right, our second exercise, we're going to bring our heels together, turn the toes out, so a little bit sort of duck feet. And we're going to drop our tailbone down, keeping our spine straight. And let your arms just be really heavy. Let them swing. You might notice you're kind of really subtly tucking your tailbone under to keep your spine long and tall. So a lot of work happening here in our glute muscles, our calf muscles, the back of our leg, our ankle joint. Shouldn't be too much pressure on the knees. No, it doesn't have to be a big movement. Keep breathing. Notice with this one how we're using our ankles, our knees, our hips, all in the single movement. So just encouraging our whole body to support itself, stacking our bones, creating a kind of structure of the body. And we'll come back. All right, now we're going to take our attention to our shoulder joint, a bit higher up the body. So this one, we're just going to lean a little one way and let that arm be heavy. Just make sure you're not holding any tension in it. And then we'll take 2 turns back, tap our shoulder, and then 2 turns forward. So it might look a bit unusual, but just go with it. And you might start to really let go of that tension in the shoulder. Feel the weight of the arm get heavier and heavier. Notice that you're probably leaning into one leg, all the weight onto one leg. And then we'll go over to the other side. Same movement, take your time. Maybe you notice one side is a lot freer than the other. So in the Tao Te Ching, chapter 2 is about yin and yang. And our earth element is all about balance, not too much of one, not too much of the other. So you might think of yin and yang as long and short, or rich and poor, good and bad. Everything in life is all about coming back to balance every time we practice. Not trying to fix, not trying to get better, just moving away from where we are. When we're low, we're moving a little higher. And when things are great, when we're a little high, then we also move back to the center. And we'll come back. The next one we'll do is very simple, arms coming out to the side. Just extend them out, drop the shoulder blades down. And then we're going to swing one arm in front and one behind the body, side to side. Shift your weight a little from one leg to the other. So the chapter in the Tao relating to yin and yang, one of my favorite pieces of writing in the world, it goes like this. When you describe something as beautiful, it means other things must become ugly. When you describe something as good, it makes other things bad. Yet before and after follow each other. Long and short define each other. Difficult and easy support each other. High and low depend on each other. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything and speaks without saying anything. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she simply allows them to go. She has, but she doesn't possess. And she acts, but doesn't expect anything in return. And when her work is done, she simply forgets it. And that is why it will last forever. All right. Coming back to the center. See if you can notice this feeling of qi moving through the body. Something has shifted. Don't really have to know what it is. I don't know how electricity works when I turn on the light switch, but I trust that it does. All right, let's take one arm over the body. We're going to reach and just let the other arm be heavy. So you'll feel as you do an exercise like this kind of stretching in the side body. We'll switch sides. This is point of our body where we're dealing with stomach and spleen. See if you can just let the body open out slowly. No pushing, no forcing. You might like to sigh. And we'll come back up. Rolling the whole upper body down. Just let your top half of your body be heavy. Doesn't matter how far you go. We're not trying to touch our toes. And when you're ready, press through the feet. Curl the spine up. You might like to roll the shoulders back a little. Maybe look up. And we'll do the same again. Just letting the body sink. Big sense of releasing. Slowly curling back up. Looking up. And last one. Coming back to stand, let's let our arms be heavy. You can let them knock against the body. You might notice here that you're also stimulating points on your stomach and spleen meridian just while you're doing this really simple action. And it might not feel like much of a massage, but again, we're just taking our body's attention right where we want it to be. Just see if you can become aware of where the arms are knocking against the body. And we'll return back to the center. As always, just noticing how we feel. All right, next one, a little trickier. We're going to step out with one foot, heel on the ground, and with our opposite hand, we're going to reach across, drop the weight in the back of the body. So you don't want to dip your head too low, back stays straight. So you might tap on your knee or your shin, and then we're going to inhale and lift up. And when our arms are above the head, we're going to step back. And then we'll take that hand to the lumbar spine and we'll switch sides. Sighing out, reaching, inhaling, lifting. When we feel stacked and balanced, then we step back. Take your time with this one. There's no rushing, not trying to get anywhere. Just let each breath come and go. And you'll notice that strong sensation down the back of the leg. Let that be there. Do two more each side. stepping back. Let's bring our palms together. So we might just do one more warm up, just a real simple one. This time we're going to tap our shoulders, lift up. You might feel your heels come 1 millimeter off the ground. Tap the shoulders and then swing the arms behind. So just like yesterday, we're going to do maybe 4, maybe 5 forms, very simple Qigong practice. The idea with this year's intensive is that hopefully you can have some takeaways, something that you remember. So we'll be doing forms that just focus on stomach and spleen, and there may be some of the simplest Qigong forms, maybe not. Simple is always good in Qigong. We try to move away from complexity and confusion. Trust that we already know. Our body knows how to heal itself. We don't need to keep reaching for answers. Often just monkey mind taking the credit for things rather than understanding that body fixes itself. Okay. So our first form, simplest of all maybe, we're going to stack our hands. First, top hand is going to be palm down at heart center. Drop your elbow, drop your shoulder and your elbow. And our other hand is going to be at the level of our dantian, this kind of life force center in our body, center of gravity in our body. And feel the two palms sort of connecting with each other. You might remember from yesterday, our Laogong point in the middle of our palm. So two palms pointing inwards. And just take a breath here, maybe. So we're going to trace, you might think of it as a figure 8 or an infinity symbol. And the way we're going to do this symbol is when our palms come towards each other, we're going to breathe in. And when our palms move away from each other, we're going to let go. So let's take a breath in to begin. As we sigh out, lower hand will release. Trace a big circle, and then inhale to come back to the center. Now our top hand, sigh out. Trace the circle, inhale. All right. Take your own time. Don't have to follow me exactly. Just listen to your own breath. Always returning to center, to harmony, to balance. Always mind, hands will be reaching for things, telling us we want things, we need things. The idea here is that we trust that we already know, we trust that we already have everything we need. Notice if there's any tension in your shoulders, can you release it? You might like to take all your attention underneath your feet, feeling this deep, heavy connection to the earth. Even though it might feel like just your hands are doing all the work here. Just notice how the leg muscles are switched on and creating that sense of stability, dependability, consistency. These are all the ways in where we find our true purpose, our sense of being of service to the people that we care about in our life, in our family. When you're ready, both palms can come back onto the dantian. Second form today, a little bit more dynamic, but same kind of idea, this idea of yin and yang, of balance, of scales. Take your elbows down and palms face up. Now notice that if you pull your hands back, your shoulders will sort of start to turn in and you'll create stress on your muscles around your neck and upper body. So what we want here is we want to be able to still see our hands in the periphery. If you take them back here, you won't be able to see them anymore. You lose your eye-finger connection. So we're just going to take our hands out. Should be able to see both palms in the periphery of your eye. You might like to even step a little wider. And this one's a real simple one. We're going to see if we can take our scales down. So side body opens, just tip them down just as far as they want to go. And then we'll come back up. We'll take a new breath. And then same on the other side. So you might drop this hip bone down, straightening the leg a little. Inhale back to center, exhale. Just again, not trying to get anywhere, just listening to our body, noticing all the little parts of our body where we might be feeling tightness or strong sensation. Might be along the side of your neck. Just notice whatever you're feeling. And maybe one more each side. And we'll come back into the center and just draw the palms back. Notice how you feel. All right, our next form, we're going to draw our yin and yang, our two palms towards each other, but not touching. And align them close to the center of the chest. Shoulders are heavy, elbows heavy. And this one is very famous Qigong form. It's in the Baduan Jin, the 8 brocades. So you'll see many people practice this every day. It's usually called something like pushing earth and holding sky or something like that. They all have slightly different names. So we'll start with a breath in. As we sigh out, we're going to see if we can push one hand down and push one hand up. So our energy is moving in both directions. And then we inhale, drawing the palms back towards each other, yin and yang, almost connecting, and then turning, and then pressing away. Keep going, find your rhythm. Yin and yang create each other, control each other, transform each other. Nothing is absolute. Everything is relative. See if you can find that really strong sense of elongation through the side of the body. Can you grow a little longer, a little taller? Remembering that we're growing by pushing down into the earth through the feet, through the hands, but also extending through the crown of the head and the palms. So see if you can find a little space between each vertebrae. Notice all the different ligaments and tendons that are expanding internally in our body. Not just the external space, but the internal space in our body. As always, take a break whenever you need to. And one more time. And then arms come back to the body. You might like to say, this is my goal, this is my destination. Not a break, not stillness, but where I need to be. All right, so the next one we'll do, it starts pretty much the same shape as the last one, where we're going to draw our palms towards each other, but not touching. And this one, we're going to push across the body. So you know this one if you've done the Shabbat forms, the 18 forms. And it's, I guess, a kind of martial arts influenced Qigong form. We're going to tuck one arm into the body, turning that palm up, and then we're going to push across. Now your spine wants to stay straight. We're not reaching out, we're just pushing across. And then we inhale to roll back, roll the hip back, palms come back to center, and then sigh out, push across. So this is often called pushing mountain. And I'll talk you through some of the main things I see people doing with this one that aren't quite right. So often I see people with vertical palms all the way, but we want our fingers to be pointing down a little. We're creating a connection with the ground. I often see people reaching too far, taking tension into their shoulder and losing balance. So you might like to just focus on spine staying long and tall. We're creating a structure to protect the body. And we want that structure to be deep, have deep roots into the ground, so no one can push us over. We're breathing in to draw the energy into the body. And the out-breath happens when we push. So no tension as we extend away from the body. We're sighing out, we're holding our space, protecting ourselves from whatever incoming toxic thing that we might not want to expose ourselves to. Crown of the head stays connected with the sky above. Balls of the feet stay pressing down into the earth. Do one more time each side. And palms will come back onto the body one last time. You might like to scan through the whole body. Whatever you observe, just connected to the practice. Maybe something has shifted. We're going to finish today with a little earth element mudra, which is we're going to bring one palm into our heart center. So similar to what we did yesterday, but just one side this time. And we're going to keep the other palm on our dantian. So this idea of connecting heart center and middle dantian. So you might think of it as combining our intention with our true self. Yesterday was all about our true self. Today is more about our true purpose. What are we here for? You might like to take a moment to just ponder the question, how can I use my unique skills and talents, all the bits that make me the individual that I am, the unique person that I am? How can I use those skills and talents? And believe me, we all have skills and talents. If your mind is saying, I don't have any, just notice that too. Acknowledge the uniqueness of your own experience, your own interests and desires. How can we use them to serve people we care about? What is my purpose on this day? Try to just make it today, not our whole life. Whole life is too long. You might like to change the hands around. Just notice if that feels different. Knuckle is resting against the heart center. Palm is resting on the dantian. This reservoir of our chi, our energy in our body. When you're ready, arms can come down. We're going to finish exactly how we started. Palms turn to the front. Take a breath, lift up, reach up. At the top, we sigh out, sinking down. And just follow your breath. Let's bring our palms together. Last little bit of heat and energy. And we'll take the hands to heart center. As always, just acknowledging our choice to practice with gratitude. And then we'll acknowledge the accountability partner of having friends to join and practice together with each day with a bow.